Hello, Jessica here from Crochet It Creations, and today we are going to work the Celtic stitch, which sometimes I call the Celtic stitch. We are going to work the Celtic stitch in the round. So I do have a video for working it flat and back and forth rows, but this is going to be the Celtic stitch in the round, which is also part of my crossed stocking pattern. So you could check that out on crochetitcreations.com or Etsy or Ravelry. So here we see that it is a weaved stitch that gives these cross effect. Very beautiful stitch. I am using an I 5.5 millimeter crochet hook and Loops and Threads Impeccable yarn, which can be found at your local Michaels store. It is a medium weight yarn. And I have already found my tail somewhere here. I've already pulled it out of the center, and let me grab it and we'll get started. So you can use this video tutorial for working the Celtic stitch in the round, or you can use it for working this stocking pattern. So either way will do just fine. Okay, so here is my tail. You want to, if you're working the stocking, you want to take about 3 foot and tie a slip knot. That way you have this tail to use to sew the stocking across the bottom and to shape it. So I do have the written instructions in front of me as well, so you can find this printable PDF on Ravelry and Etsy like I mentioned. It states here to chain 60. All right, let me move these instructions out of the way. So join to form a loop. You want to make sure it is not twisted. You can also, this is for the stocking pattern, but if you're working just a Celtic stitch in the round, you can also use any multiples of 4. So I don't think that's twisted, but I'm going to go ahead and join with a slip stitch. So round 1 states to chain 3. And then skip 2 stitches. So we're going to count this first one that we joined to as our first chain or first stitch. So 1, 2. Then you want to triple crochet in the next stitch or next chain. So triple crochet or treble crochet. I use those intermediately or interchangeably, I mean. So yes, so 2 stitches there of the treble crochet, and then it says cross in front of the stitches just made and triple in the first stitch that was skipped and then the second stitch that was skipped. So this is the first one, that one that we joined to. So you're going to treble in that first one. We're crossing in front, so make note of that. The pattern does state in order to work the Celtic stitch, you will be crossing in front and behind. So please, keep an eye on that. So treble crochet in the second skip stitch. Okay, so we have our first cross. So this is going to be the multiple that's worked all the way around. So as you can see in the pattern, it says to repeat that around. So skip 2 stitches and work 2. So 2 treble crochets right here. And then go back and treble crochet in that first skipped chain. Sometimes these are kind of hard to see. And when you're working any kind of cables, you want to use your fingers to feel the stitches because sometimes they're hard to see them. So there we're crossing in front. We're making these little pretty X's which cross in front. Okay, so treble on that one, treble on the next one. Cross in front. So this is crossing in front where you're going into the next or the first skip stitch. That second one, you can see it's kind of hard to see that. So separate it out, use your fingers, fill those stitches. So see, we've got 3 X's right here. We're going to continue to repeat this around. I'm going to stand it up, so I'm going to have a seat, try to keep my hands in the center of the camera and work this all the way around. Okay, so we are down to the last 4 stitches on the chain, and we want to make sure that you're not twisted. This is very, very important because it does twist up as you work. So you want to take and untwist any of it. Okay. So somehow, every time I work this, I usually get twisted up. So just keep that in mind that it's totally normal and you want to make sure you're untwisting everything. So see how my, so I'm untwisted, but my skein is through the center somehow, so. Ah, I just took a stitch out. Okay, let me fix that stitch that I just lost. Okay, so now we're going to have 4 stitches left on the chain. It's not twisted. We can see that. You're going to work those last 4. It's very important though, make sure you're not twisted up because if you are, then it's not going to be right. Okay, so now that we are finished, we're going to skip over the chain 3 because that does not count as a stitch. It's just a chain 3. So you want to skip over that, and then you want to slip stitch to the top of the first stitch to join. So there we have it, round 1. All right, are we ready for round 2? So we're going to chain 3, just like the directions say, chain 3. skip 4 stitches, so including the one we joined to, so 1, 2, 3, 4. You want to front post treble crochet into those 2 stitches, the next 2 stitches. So you see the front post, you're going around the stitch, not into the top. Okay, so we've skipped 4 stitches, we've done 2 front post treble. Now this is where it's super important. You want to cross behind the stitches just worked. So, and we're going to front post treble into these 2, but you're going to go behind, so behind. So see, flip that down, go behind. This is super important, else you will not get the right stitch technique. So cross in front, and like I said before, it's easier to feel the stitches than see them sometimes. So cross in front and work around. Oh, goodness. Around. Okay. So you leave those first 2 stitches unworked, and then you work at X in the next 4. So skip 2 stitches, so skip 2, front post treble around these 2. Alright, and then we're going to work in these 2, but you're going to go behind. So front post treble in that first skipped stitch. So like I said, feel it, pull it forward. It's hard to see. Anytime you work cables, it's hard to see them. You have to spread it apart, use your fingers, pull that stitch out. So now you're getting this like crisscross effect. And it's like weaving in and out. So do it again. Skip 2 stitches, front post treble in the next 2. Okay, now go behind and work in those 2 skip stitches. Like I said, feel those stitches. Oh. So this is more of an intermediate to advanced stitch technique. If you're familiar with cables, it'll be more easy for you if this is the first time you worked any type of cables. This is a technique that, I mean, you get beautiful effect. So definitely something that's awesome to learn. Skip 2 stitches, front post treble around 2 stitches, go back, work behind the stitches just made, and front post treble around the first skip stitch, front post treble around the second skip stitch. Alrighty, now do this around. So I'm standing right now. I'm going to go sit down, try to keep my hands in the screen. Work that round all the way until you have 2 stitches left, and then I'll show you how to finish out the round. Okay, so I have 2 stitches left. So there's these 2 stitches left. We also have the 2 stitches that are unworked from the very first start of the round. There's my chain 3. So the chain 3 is kind of just to get you over that position. It's not even going to be used. So and this is the chain 3 from the first round, so that's not going to be used either. So you want to front post treble in the first 2 skip stitches. So these 2 right here. So we're ignoring the chain 3 from rounds 1 and 2. And then you go back behind and work the front post treble around that last 2 skipped stitches of the round. Alright, and then now you slip stitch to join to the top of the first stitch, so skipping over that chain 3. And there you have round 2 complete, and we've got these cute little X's going on. So we're going to move on to round 3. It's very same thing as the first. So chain 3, skip 4 stitches, so counting the one you joined to, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Front post treble around the first or the next stitch. And then front post treble around the other stitch. So this time we're going to cross in front. So staying in front of your work, front post treble around that skip stitch there. Front post treble on the next skip stitch. So we're creating another X. So skip 2 stitches, front post treble around 2 stitches there. Go back and front post treble around that first skip stitch. Alright, skip 2 stitches, front post treble around 2 stitches. Go back, front post treble around that first skip stitch. Go around that second skip stitch. Alright, so you see that technique where it's kind of like, looks like it's weaving under and over the stitches to create this nice X look. Yep, so this is creating this weaved in and out look. Okay, so continue working the round and then I'll show you how to finish out the end. Okay, so we are at the end of the round. We've got our first 2 skip stitches of the round, and we've got our last 2 right here. So just like we did before, you're going to go ahead and front post treble in the first 2 skip stitches of the round. And then go back crossing in front and front post treble in the last 2 skipped stitches. So these joins are seamless. You won't be able to tell where the rounds start and end, which is very nice because it has this really pretty finish to it. Okay, so that is the end of round 3. And all you do from there is repeat rounds 2 and 3 and just keep going back. So you're crossing in front, crossing behind, crossing in front, crossing behind, going back and forth. So you're getting this weaved in and out look. So I'm going to stop the video here. I'm not going to continue working those repeats. If you need further help, just go back and rewatch the video. If you do purchase the stocking pattern, or if you go to crochetitcreations.com, there are lots of step-by-step photos of each step to take. As you can see, there's plenty of written directions of exactly what to do. If you are just working the Celtic stitch in the round, I do hope this helps you. If you're working the stocking, I'm going to repeat this for 9 rows like the pattern states, and then come back on this same video and show you how to do round 10. I had a couple of questions during testing, so I really want to get that on video. So I'm going to stop the video here, and then I'll come back to finish round 10 of the stocking, where you decrease from 60 to 40 stitches. So, all right, see you in a bit. Okay, so this is the one that I was working before the stocking, and so this already has 9 rows completed. It might not be quite as easy to see as the red, but I think it's still kind of showing up pretty decent on video. So we have 9 rows completed of the Celtic stitch for the stocking. We're going to make row 10, which goes from 60 stitches down to 40. So basically this is kind of like the foot part of the stocking, and then we're going to make the body up. So just like the pattern states, skip 3 stitches, chain 3, skip 4 stitches, goodness, okay. So working behind those stitches just made, front post in the 3rd and 4th skip stitch. Okay, so keep working that around. Go behind, so front post, treble in the 1st skip stitch, front post treble in that 2nd. There you go. So far we have worked 4 stitches, and we have the 2 that skip, so 4, 8. So we're going to do this for 20 stitches. So skip 2, front post treble in 2, go back and behind, front post treble in that 1st skip stitch, go in that 2nd, so skip 2 stitches, front post treble, and this can be a difficult technique. If you're not getting it, don't give up, just keep trying. Like I said, I've got written directions, I've got photos, and I've got a video, so hopefully this will help you get through it. Okay, so we've got 4, 8, 12, 16, so we're going to do one more set. And then go behind. Okay, so there is 20 stitches there. So 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20. Okay, so this is going to be like this part of the pattern. Then we're going to leave this part unworked and work in the back side. So if we can see our pattern, it says skip 22 stitches. So I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So if it helps, put a stitch marker there. Those are the stitches you're skipping. I'm going to go back and count just to make sure. Okay, so I'm going to work in this next one. So I don't have a stitch marker right here with me, so I'm just going to kind of improvise. All right, so go ahead and front post in this one. This is really important to kind of keep all your stitches tight. What's on your hook? Okay, so we front post trebled around 2. So this is, like I said, this is leaving this unworked. But we have to go behind here and work in these two that way because we have to complete this X. So go back and front post behind the work, still working behind. We want to keep that same pattern going. Front post around skip stitch number 21 and then front post around that last skip stitch. So there we have it. We've got this little X here, and then you're going to sew along here, and you're going to sew that little bit closed at the end. So, all right, so continue working for the remaining 20 stitches. Go behind. All right, so we've got 2 skip stitches left, first 2 skip stitches. We're going to finish out the round as usual. So front post treble in those first 2 skip stitches, and then go behind and front post treble in those skip stitches. Okay. So I'm sure you all appreciate for me to do one more round just so you can see how to continue working up. So I'm going to have a seat and we're going to continue to work. So chain 3, skip 4 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4. Front post treble in those 2. Cross in front, front post treble in the 2 skip stitches here. Yeah, because if you look at the pattern, it just says to repeat round 3. So this is a round 3 repeat that we're doing. We're crossing in front and we are front post treble in those skip stitches. It's very hard to say treble. I'm so used to just saying triple in my head. I think that's the way I was taught, but I try to be correct based on the Craft Yarn Cancel standards. So treble crochet. Okay, so we're just doing this around. So we've got All right, so we've got this like section here. So this is going to be where we work over. I think I should look and see if you can see that on camera. So we're going to kind of cross like right here at the middle of the foot. So front post treble there. And go back, and these two crossing in front. All right, we did that. So now on to the next. So there's two there, skip two, front post treble. And as you work this pattern, you'll kind of get like, you'll notice like you're doing crossing in front when this is behind. That way you know what you've done last. So see, these are behind there, so you want to cross in front. That's what's giving it that weaved in and out, crisscross, X, beautiful stitching. Almost there to the end. So you'll notice that this, you know, some of the work that's in the round, your joins are straight up and down. The first round is the same position as the last round. But for the Celtic stitch, you're obviously not, it's not going to be straight up and down. So I started way over here and I'm way over here now, which is exactly how it's supposed to be. So all right. So we're on the last. I'm doing the first two stitches of the round, going back and doing those last two. Alrighty, and then we're going to join to the top of the first stitch. And there you have it. So you're just going to continue working this up just like you did the bottom part. So if you're working the stocking, then here it is. Just keep working that up. When you're done, you're going to turn it inside out and you're going to sew along. You want to kind of just sew like really not too far out from the end. So like sew this across the top and then kind of like shape the foot and then shape the foot here. But make sure it's not too far in because there's not a whole lot of foot here. So you'll lose some of that shape of the stocking. But I really like boxy stockings. I like ones that are like hold their shape really well. So this is how that pattern is. So anyways, there you have it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Check out other videos and patterns on crochetitcreations.com. Thank you. Bye-bye.